Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to this ecommotors D.O.G podcast number 4. D.O.G is Drive Online Growth, the reason for ecommotors, and in actual fact, the reason for this podcast to exist in the first place. My name is Paul Dilger, you may call me Dilge, and I'm with Volo, one of the joint venture partners of ecommotors, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Andrew John Rowson, founder and chief executive of Automotive, who are the other partner to the ecommotors joint venture team. Andrew, hello to you.
Hello, and welcome to the audience. It's always a pleasure to be with you all.
We're rather excited here at ecommotors. We've got an event coming up on the 5th of October, and it's going to be held at the eBay Richmond headquarters. That's the UK headquarters of the dynamo, the giant of online selling, which is eBay. Why don't you tee this event up for us and give the audience a bit of an insight into why we're doing it in the first place?
Well, Paul, so first of all, we are really fortunate for eBay to allow us to use their space and for us to bring together some pinnacle people in the automotive field for this one-day event. So first of all, I've got to say thanks out for those guys. If you've never been to eBay in the UK, it's kind of like finding the platform to get to Harry Potter land. It is hidden away. We will be giving all the attendees the secret instructions of how to find there, and you will then be in their theatre, which they've got a theatre-style room where all the big decisions happen. So we are really honoured to be part of that. So when I said there are some movers and shakers from the automotive world going to be part of this, now this event is all about how you can automate automotive parts and accessories, looking at what's happened and what the future is going to be. And it's there for people that are selling online, people that want to sell online and want to know more about selling online. Both offline and online are going to morph into one, and the future. So that's kind of a helicopter view of what the day's all going to be about. And it's going to be quite a relaxed event because we want you all to get something out of it. So it's really important that it's interactive. That's with speakers. We're going to do a little bit of fireside chat without the fireside, if you get what I'm saying. And also we'll have some time for questions, mingling, networking. And we want you to be happy about leaving the event and getting something out of it. And Paul's really instrumental in the organisation of this. As marketing guy, he has really put a lot of effort in prepping this up. Do you want to give the guys a bit of an insight about what's going to go on the day?
Absolutely, Andrew, and thanks for that introduction. So I suppose the first thing I want to do is give you the website page for how you can register to attend this complimentary, which is a long posh word for free, event. So it's ecommotors, ecommotors.com/automotive-2024. And that's where you can find out a good bit more information about the event, and it's where you can actually book your tickets, find out who's speaking, find out where it's on, find out if you're the kind of person that eBay and ecommotors can most help. So just to give you a bit of an insight there, we've got a Q&A session with some of the senior people within eBay parts and accessories. But then we've got some really good kind of niche type presentations just to give you a real feel for who are some of the other players that go together to form the aftermarket ecosystem, if you like, within marketplaces like eBay. So for example, we've got a presentation from TechCom, who of course are the aftermarket data specialists, international and global data specialists. We've got a lot of category managers speaking from eBay in areas like fitment, item specifics, click and fit. Then we've got, after lunch, we've got another fireside chat with those senior category managers at eBay, where they're going to give you an insight into the kinds of things that they're going to be focusing on in 2024, what areas they're likely to be promoting, what inventory they're going to be focusing in on, all that kind of good stuff. And then from a sort of a third party perspective, if you like, we've got the IAAF are going to be speaking. They are the body, the independent body that represents the automotive aftermarket. And then we've got a very authoritative presentation on what's happening in the automotive e-commerce landscape from Nitin Gupta from Frost & Sullivan. And we already heard them speak earlier this year. They've got some fantastic data, some really genuine insights into what's going on and what's likely to happen and transpire in the market. And then also we've got a presentation from Chris Dawson, who is the founding editor of Channel X, formerly known as Tamebay, and he'll be talking more about the marketing side, how you support your e-commerce activities in terms of what you could be doing on social media, what blogging and other types of content tend to work well in a genuinely multi-channel scenario. And then our own Andrew Rowson, of course, will also bring his expertise to bear in terms of one of the absolute critical elements of being successful online, and that is all around data, and why data and good data is the key to success when you're selling online and you're dealing with the end buyer rather than necessarily other partners in your distribution network, in your B2B channel, if you like. And we're very lucky because we'll have the day hosted jointly by Andrew, but also by Arjang Salehi of eBay, otherwise known as AJ. And AJ is someone who's got very prominent profile within the automotive industry. And he's also going to be front and center when it comes to eBay Open in Manchester on September 14th and eBay Open in London on September 21st. So it looks like it's going to prove to be a very important day and a very insightful day with all of the key people at eBay that you want to get to know if you want to be successful in automotive. What are your thoughts, Andrew? Anything I've missed out that you'd want to?
Yeah, no, I think you've actually summarised the agenda really well. There's some real key points that I'm really looking forward to hearing. One of those is Chris Dawson, who I've known for many years, over 20 years ago, and he then pivoted and started a marketplace blog, which then became the authority for anything happening with marketplaces in the UK, which was Tamebay and then Channel X. He's got a lot of experience. He was one of the early bloggers, I would say, in the UK, and he can bring that to hopefully the attendees, and it'd be great for you to pick his mind, ask him questions. But as you know, social media is one of those key areas where it both influences and people can purchase items off the back of that as well. So I'm looking forward to his talk. The other one as well is Mark Rudge from Tech Alliance, TechCom. Now, he will talk about how you can automate orders from orders being placed online or through your bricks and mortar store and tapping into over 500 different aftermarket suppliers. And, we've got some solutions there, which we work with TechCom with. This isn't going to be a sales event. This is a knowledge event. And we're there to answer any questions. So this is why we've chosen some of these key partners that we feel would be helpful in helping both online sellers and offline sellers with their business. You mentioned Frost & Sullivan. People, it sounds like a solicitor's, doesn't it, or an accountancy firm.
It does a bit, yeah.
Sullivan, but far from it. They are a think tank, and they have offices around the world. They've got their fingers on the pulse in the automotive field, and they can see what's happening in the US. They can see what's happening in Europe, and what you'll see. And from my experience, everyone is on the same journey, but we're at different points on that journey from a country perspective. So they can bring some of their insights and help predict what we feel are going in the direction in 2024. So, I think we've got, we've got a lot in there. I think there's a lot to pack in, and all we're asking is for your time. Free events feed you as well, and there'll be. I can't guarantee there'll be some alcoholic drinks, but there'll be some drinks of some sort there for you as well. So we just want to help you in helping you to move forward your business. And that's why we felt we should bring all these people in one place where you can listen to them, ask them questions, and see, if you get one thing out of it, then I feel that the day's been successful. That would be my gauge. What about you, Paul? How do you feel?
Well, no, I think you've summarised it pretty well. I think the one thing I would add, Andrew, is the fact that, if you're a seller listening to this podcast and going, well, that sounds great, all these people from eBay are going to be speaking, all of these industry experts are going to be speaking, but who has walked in my shoes? Who can give us the perspective of the actual seller? Now, I know, Andrew, you mentioned that you and Chris used to be sellers, but we've also lined up one of our ecomotors customers and our good friend AJ Chauhan of ARX Global. He's going to be speaking briefly at the event as well, because he's been helping us pioneer an integration of the Techcom data and processes directly into our ERP system, so that we can really drive through some straight through processing of orders and stock availability and pricing information and refunds and invoicing and all the kind of stuff that if you're a Techcom customer, you're probably having to do manually or in a separate system or all that kind of stuff. So I think AJ's perspective will be very interesting for all of us. So I'm particularly excited about that. But Andrew, who do you think who are the people that should be coming to this kind of an event, do you think?
That's a great question. We tailored this to actually try and hit two biggest categories of people. And that's actually covers quite a lot of people within the automotive parts business. The first one are people that are already selling retail, whether that's online or offline. They may be selling on eBay, maybe selling on their website, and they want to get prepared for the future, where we got people like Frost and Sullivan talking about insights. We've got Mark Rudge coming and talking about how you can automate things. I'm going to do a little bit on data as well, how you can get ready for 2024 and how that's actually changed over the last 5 years. So it'd be great for that subsection of people. Then people that are interested in learning more about connecting to the customer and customer habits. So that could be brands, manufacturers, whether that is aftermarket, could be OEM, could be tier one, that want to know more about the latest and greatest trends and technologies out there. It could be that you are working already within a big business like that, within the e-commerce field, and you want to, you've got to prepare reports for your board, or you want to feed back to the rest of the business. This is ideal. We'll give you some facts and figures and information that will help you in order to actually educate the business when you go back as well. So, I think those are the two main areas. Absolutely parts and accessories, vehicle parts, motorcycle, power sports to some extent as well. Those are the categories within selling or manufacturing or, a reseller you need to be. It wouldn't be interesting if you're selling clothing or shoes or home and garden. No, this is really specific on the parts and accessories category. And I think it's the reason we've done that is because there is so much that's unique to this category. This is why we formed ecommotors, because we saw that there was a need to help educate, but also help people on that journey, help sellers on that journey as well. As we said, it's a free event. All we're asking for is your time. Okay, so you just need to go to the link. Paul's going to repeat because he's got it written down and I haven't. So Paul's going to repeat for you, and just go in there, sign up. We'll give you instructions how to get there as well. Not central London, it's just Richmond. So it's on the west side of London. So it is, traffic allowing, quite easy to get and jump into that location. And we've positioned it on a Thursday. Typically, we feel it's the better time of the week because we know you are all busy in your businesses. And so, Thursday is always a good time to have these sort of events. So that's why we've picked that day. And we managed to draw together all these people in order to help you, really. That's why we're holding the event.
Thank you, Andrew. So you need to go to ecommotors.com/automating-automotive-2024. The number's 2024. And that will get you to the landing page where you can find out more information and you can register. We really hope to see you there. As Andrew mentioned, it's Thursday, the 5th of October. It's at eBay's UK headquarters in Richmond. And everything you need to know, really, how to start, how to scale. It'll be insightful. It will be educational. It will not be a hard sell. It's genuinely meant to help you form your strategy, make some key decisions since you're out the office for the guts of the day. We really hope to see you at the event. And I should just take a slight step sideways just to tell you that I may originate from slightly north of Birmingham, but as we all know in the automotive business, everything automotive kind of revolves around Birmingham and the Midlands. Let's face it. So the topic for today's conversation is automotive and peak trading. Now, peak trading is something that's incredibly important and critical to some other e-commerce categories within the e-commerce world. I'm thinking of fashion, I'm thinking of tech and electrical products, I'm thinking of home and garden to a degree, certainly the home part of home and garden. But you may not necessarily feel that the golden quarter is golden for you if you are in the aftermarket business and online is what you do. So it's all about peak trading. So Andrew, what can automotive aftermarket specialists do when it comes to peaking for Q4 or in fact any kind of online seasonal peak?
So that's really interesting. So we are now, by the time this comes out, it'll be mid-September, almost towards Q4. Now, typically from an e-commerce point of view, peak is Christmas for most of the world. Then we have Thanksgiving in the US, and then we have this Amazon type event, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which everyone else has jumped on top of and created another mini event. However, as specialists in the automotive field and parts and accessories, most automotive, it is not peak for us. So if you look at anybody, look at the sales of any business that does a full cross-section of automotive parts, they wouldn't say that peak would be Q4. It would be mostly towards the summer, before the summer holidays start, because you've got to think, you're replacing parts. So when unless your performance, performance is additional, not when people have got time to actually soup up their car, the home hobbyist and that sort of person, that would be them buying parts in order to do that. But replacement, mostly hard parts, that is normally when the car tells you that you've got to replace that, whether that's a exhaust or muffler, as they call them in the US, wiper blades or bulbs, it could be clutch kits, and that, clutch kits, brake discs, that all happens at any time of the year, not just for Christmas. And I've got to say, Paul, I did send you a pair of brake discs for Christmas last year, and I'm not sure you really loved that present, did you?
Well, to be honest with you, they're still sitting on the shelf in my shed.
Okay, and actually you don't own the car that I bought it for because it was a customer return. But anyway, at least I thought about you for Christmas, yeah? So
that's very kind of you.
Yeah. But that's just an example, A lot of the items are distressed purchases, so availability becomes key when people need those items. But what does happen in the winter months? Just think, as a car driver, what would you check and change the winter months, Paul?
Well, if I lived in a slightly less temperate climate than the one I'm currently in, I would certainly think about winter tyres, snow chains, the kind of protective stuff that would enable me to feel more safe and comfortable on the road. I might think about some of those additives and supplementary bits and pieces that I would need to make sure that my car was fully serviced and ready to go and is not going to let me down during some of the more slightly precarious months of the season. What about you?
Yeah, so you've hit the nail on the head. So the temperature changes, particularly in Europe. So you've got to think of things that get affected on the car during that time. So you said about antifreeze additives in order to make the engine run better and smoother. So when it's cold and the more older engines, they need that sort of thing in order to move forward. Wiper blades back in the day when, winter was winter and summer was summer with sun, that's changing a lot in today's world. But, the wiper blades, some cars don't get used until we hit the autumn winter time and they see that they need replacing. So sales of those start to go up. Bulbs start using our lights longer. So those bulbs need to be checked where you might not have been driving out in the dark because it was light during the day, where the darkness creeps in. You then start using your lights more. So that's when you need just to get those replacements done as well. So those sort of things start to increase in sales, but not to the factor that you see a Christmas time peak trading like you would do if you're selling clothing for events or toys or home and garden, as Paul mentioned. It is, I would say automotive is all year round without that peak. And I've got to say, I would take an all year round trade rather than working from peak event to peak event. What about you, Paul?
I think if it was a straight line business from season to season, I think it would be much more easy to plan for. But already, Andrew, you've identified that certain categories within aftermarket have slightly different seasons and are slightly more suspect to seasonality than others. I think it's absolutely fair to say that. So, I guess the question for me to ask you, Andrew, is do you think that the halo effect of things like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, some of the Amazon October deal extravaganzas that are going on, Halloween even, as well as things like Christmas, do you think that the halo effect can genuinely extend to automotive aftermarket sellers?
So I think, there's two ways that could affect. So as the consumer is more readily looking out for a deal, particularly where we're looking at Black Friday, Cyber Monday, if, more on universal products, like more things like have compatibility, have more fitments like bulbs, there's only, let's say, 11 or 12 different types of bulbs that fit all the vehicles, unless you're getting into the more speciality bulbs that come with cars, the newer cars today. Then yes, if you could offer a discount at these events, then absolutely, I think you'll see a small increase. But you're not going to see, it's not a time to, if you're selling iPhones, for example, and you did a deep discount for Black Friday, you'll see a huge increase on that. You won't have that sort of thing in the automotive field. When I say universal oil, that's a great example where it is universal. People do keep a spare can of that in their vehicle, in their garage. So they would, if they see a good deal, they would purchase it, particularly because the price of oil and gas and those sort of products is quite high. So people are looking at making a bargain for those sort of things. Universal things like antifreeze and wiper fluid as well as screen wash. Yeah, absolutely. You could make a killing if you've got the right deal for those sort of events as well. But yeah, there's an example. One thing I do want to put out there, we live on a round earth, as I'm sure you're all aware, as I learned from my early days in geography, that the world is not flat, which then means that where it is winter in one part of the world, it is summer in another part of the world. So, if you've got products that could be sold from a cross-border trade point of view, and the car park allows for the fitment of those products, then it is a great opportunity, for example, to sell the summer type performance, the summer accessories, let's say in Australia or New Zealand or Southeast Asia, where, that weather is there during the winter months in the UK as well. So there is sales to be had, I've got to say. But you've got to take advantage of the different events that there are around the world. That's what I would say on this.
Okay, very good. So we are getting into the final quarter of 2023, and we actually touched on an event that might be useful for you to think about, our Automating Automotive event on the 5th, Thursday the 5th of October. And so that might be somewhere you can ask this kind of a question, what should my countdown to the golden quarter of 2023 look like in terms of what can I be doing? What tricks might I be missing for peak trading? In addition to that event, Andrew, we're basically looking at October, November, December, and then we start again. So are there any specific things that aftermarket sellers should be thinking about in these final 3 months of the year? Or do you think is the incremental sales they'll get from that halo effect is so small? Should they really just be devoting Q4 to preparing their 2024 strategy? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think typically, working within the automotive category for nearly 20 years, the people selling, where we're selling or where we're buying may changed over that time, but actually the basics of it hasn't. And I would say use Q4 to plan, hit the ground running in January, because there's a lot of businesses out there and they do wind down a little bit more towards December. It is towards the end of the year, you've worked hard, but and take some time off. Absolutely take some time off, but don't slow the business right down. Just look and plan so you can get there ready, raring to go when everybody gets back and the first week of January, and everyone is then also starting to looking to buy car parts and all that good stuff. The other thing you've got to remember as well is that there's a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands during Christmas and New Year. I personally did not experience that, but I do know, speaking to some friends, they take that time down, they take that time off. And, when they've had enough of eating, drinking and watching the telly, they will start doing things like hobbies, they'll start looking on the internet, and you will find that people will buy stuff during that period, that's that slower period. So make sure, again, you need to take your time up, down and time off, but make sure that you've still got products available during that time so you can take advantage of those customers that are out there. Not everyone is going to spend the time with their family. Some people are working and they're allowed to actually spend time for themselves during the work day, so they will buy stuff. There are people that are on their own and will be browsing during that time as well. So, the internet is 24/7, and that's the beauty of it. So you've got to make sure that people can still buy stuff and maximize that time. That's my advice, anyway.
I think that's great advice, Andrew. And I suppose it goes hand in hand with the advice that we always give on these kind of podcasts, and that's a reminder that you are not selling to a distributor or a reseller. You are selling to someone who is looking to buy directly. Could be a hobbyist, could be an individual punter, could be a garage or a body shop. So it's all about constructing the information and the data around what it is you're trying to sell, around how that individual thinks about what they need and how they want to go through that purchase. And obviously, data is a pretty key element of the kind of services that your part of ecommotors provide, Andrew.
Yeah, I think, automation is the key out of all of this. And, part of what we do from a system and a person point of view is that we can automate some of this. So, where you're enjoying your time away, families, we can actually look after it for you, whether it's a system or whether it's people. And we're quite fortunate that we have offices around the world. So there are certain places around the world that don't celebrate Christmas, and we support their time when they do have their celebrations. So they will be working. Christmas is a normal day for them. So, we can help, make sure your business keeps running during that time. And if that's interesting, how can people reach out, Paul?
Well, they can reach out by sending us an email to revup, REVUP, at ecommotors.com. They can visit the website, ecommotors.com, ecommotors.com. They can visit us on social media. They can pick up the phone. The numbers that you need are on the website. And before we close this podcast, Andrew, what are your plans for Christmas? What are your plans for the end of Q4 2023?
Oh, well, I will be planning for 2024. That's what I will be doing, and spend a little bit of time with the family, of course. And then that's a very good. I'm going to put that question back to you, Paul. What are you going to be doing? Are you?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Andrew. Christmas is my favourite time of year. It's like everybody's birthday at the same time, so I'm really looking forward to spending some family time. I'll be dividing my time between the Republic of Ireland and England over the Christmas break. I hope to take a couple of days of downtime. But yes, I think I'll probably do a bit of browsing and I dare say some purchasing online as well. So that's been our view, the ecommotors view of what kind of opportunities the peak trading period or any peak trading period may in fact present for you in the aftermarket e-commerce arena. So thanks for listening again. This has been an ecommotors D.O.G Drive Online Growth podcast. At this point, Andrew normally offers up a dog barking noise in the background as we close out.
Oh, I've got the window open. I think people may think I'm a bit weird. So that's why I didn't do it. But anyway, oh, there you go. There is one.
Excellent. And thanks again for listening. And we hope you enjoy the very best of your day.
Goodbye.